First, you engage with people. I guess first you get out there and get on the social networks, but you engage with people. And then you just have conversations and you talk with people. And if we're talking about Twitter, it's not all about promotion, it's attraction, not promotion. For example, the social media works TKO that we used at BIN started out as a Flickr photo that was posted, and a fellow who does similar work as TKO out of St. Louis saw it, liked it, started a conversation with Josh Humble, and they conversed on social networks back and forth, to the point that our representative that covers that area said, hey, I want to meet the guy too, even though we're in the same business, you never know, and went over to next trip to St. Louis, took him to lunch. An advertising agency approached our friend Jeff in St. Louis, which had met on social networks, and just conversed, and had a job that was bigger than what he could handle. They needed somebody that had an installation staff that could travel the country, and the logistics behind de-identifying 200 or 4,000 vehicles at 221 locations and installing. We could do that. He set up the meetings. We had several meetings with them, and it ended up being an almost $2 million contract that we had across the country. But it started out with a Flickr photo, but it didn't end there. See, and I think some people miss a couple of things. Part of that story is, yes, you had to be out there, but now you had to engage and you had to converse, and you just had to be a human being talking to another human being, because then you made a friend. And we're B2B. I think a lot of times in B2B, as you were talking earlier, Don, people think it's you're connecting with this business or that business. Stop and think. When you have connected, it's because you probably knew somebody or were introduced to somebody. You got your foot in the door because Bob knew Joe and introduced you. Isn't that what happened? It wasn't that you went to ABC whatever company and knocked in on the cold call, and that can happen. So we met somebody, became a friend, were introduced, and he introduced his friends. So the first point was you got to engage. The second point is that it's meeting people, talking to people, human being, and again, as Don said earlier, it's not B2B, it's P2P, people to people. And then the third point I want to make is that we need to share these stories. We have all had, any of us that work in any social media have had non-believers and detractors. Why are you doing that? Where's the ROI? It doesn't work. And as much as we want to talk about how it helps with SEO and it's making a more of an impact on your website, and we need these stories to be able to share with people. So when you have these social media successes, the third point I want to make to everybody is put it out there. Let people know about it. Let Don know that here is somebody that had this success dealing with HR people looking for a new position. So